I'm Lucy. I'm with the University of California, and so I just wanted to welcome you and thank you for your patience today. We have a great program. We have 5 young professionals. They all graduated within around the last 3 years. We have Berenice from Farm&G. We have Chris from GUSS, Ella from Agtonomy, Tyler from Bluewhite, and we also have Lawrence from FarmWise joining us today. And Carrie Peterson is our moderator. Yeah, I hope you learned something, and please, if you have questions, feel free to ask them. And you'll also have opportunity to ask questions one-on-one. You can ask your teachers to ask, so participate. And I think everyone's excited to talk to you. And after that, we're going to get to go in the expo zone. And so thank you.
Okay, so hi everybody. I'm Carrie Peterson. Welcome. We're excited to have you here. We have an incredible list of panel of young people here this afternoon. I may even take a seat because I think that they're going to have a whole lot to tell you about with their career path, what they're doing in ag tech. I work with the Western Growers Association on an educational grant that they receive from the California Department of Food and Ag. We develop ag tech curriculum for community college students, and we also get students into internships once they're in community college. So if you are going to go to a community college in California and major in ag, please talk to your teachers about the Western Growers program when you get there, because we can certainly help get you into some internships so you get a lot of experience, so that while you're in college, you get some work experience, get some stuff on your resume. So I'm super excited to be here. I will go ahead and ask each panelist, and we'll just go down the row. So first and foremost, if you can just introduce yourself and then tell us who you work for and what you do.
Awesome. Yeah. Hello and welcome, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm really excited to be speaking with you today, and thank you for the organizers. My name is Ella Rasmussen. I live and work in California, but I'm originally from Canada. I studied at the University of Waterloo doing mechatronics engineering. If you guys don't know what that is, that's a combination of software, electrical, and mechanical engineering, really geared towards robotics and automation, and it's very cool stuff. I currently work at Agtonomy as a perception software engineer doing robotics. At Agtonomy, we are building autonomous farming solutions for specialty crop growers in order to help them manage their farms better. So specifically, I do some work with machine learning and computer vision in order to allow our autonomous tractors to be able to see and understand the world around them.
Right on. Hello, everyone. My name is Tyler ARMBRISTER. I studied plant science at Fresno State, and I'm currently the operation manager for Bluewhite. Bluewhite's mission is to build resilient farms. We take existing tractor fleets and equip them with autonomous technology, and that supports the grower's journey for a more profitable and sustainable farm. Happy to be here with you all and get rolling.
Awesome. I'm Chris Kent. I'm 25, from Kingsburg, California, so just right below Fresno. And I went to Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo, and majored in wine and viticulture with a concentration in wine business, and then a minor in ag business. I work for GUSS Automation. We build autonomous orchard and vineyard sprayers, and we actually have an exhibit out here. You guys will see one running up and down. So I've been there for about 3 years now, and yeah, also excited to be here.
Awesome. My name is Berenice MEIJA. I am 28 years old. I am born and lived in Watsonville. If you guys know, it's just about 30 minutes up north. I graduated from San Jose State University last year with a bachelor's in communication and a minor in human rights. And I'm currently the production manager at Farm&G. And at Farm&G, we build compact electric tractors that are designed to be completely modular and designed to support a various quantity of ag solutions. So it's been really great, and thank you for having us here today.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. I'm Lawrence Sun. I graduated in 2018 with my bachelor's in electrical engineering, and in 2021 with my master's at San Jose State. Awesome school. I work with FarmWise. We do weeding implements, precision weeding implements. So one of our main points is that we are super precise and we outshine the sun. Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, thank you. It's funny that both of you are San Jose State. I grew up in San Jose. I didn't have, my high school did not have an FFA chapter, so I was in 4-H growing up. And I always knew I wanted to get a degree in agriculture and go to school and participate in agricultural programs. So I'd kind of like you guys to tell us kind of your journey from maybe high school, what you did. You know, did you do 4-H or FFA or anything agricultural, or did you grow up on a farm? And if not, then what got you interested in ag?
Yeah, for me, I'm actually fairly new to agriculture and ag tech, but I've always been interested in robotics. When I was in middle school and high school, I participated in some international robotics competitions, including FIRST Robotics, VEX Robotics, which some of you guys might also participate in. I also really adored my computer engineering and programming classes in high school, and all of that really inspired me to pursue robotics. Around high school age, I had a lot of ideas about what I wanted to do and what I wanted to build, and that was things from building space robots or drone swarms or nano robots. I had a lot of ideas. And because of that, that's why I chose my university degree to study more robotics-specific things. At university, I did a lot of internships. I joined a lot of school clubs, and they were all geared towards robotics of different degrees. And that's also where I got more interested in the specifics of machine learning and computer vision for autonomous robots.
Will you explain machine learning and what that means?
Yeah, so machine learning are basically techniques where you can take large volumes of data, train what we call models, which can be represented as a complex mathematical equation, so that it can learn how to do the task that you want it to. So for example, if you want something to learn how to detect a dog or classify a dog versus a cat, you can feed it a lot of images, the model will train itself, and eventually you'll be able to say, okay, what is this picture? And it'll be able to say, is it a dog or a cat? And you can apply this to so many different things, including ag tech, which is what we're doing here. Yeah, so because my interest is in machine learning and computer vision, I started going into the self-driving car field. And when I was at a university, I worked at Lyft Level 5 for a couple of years building self-driving cars. But eventually, I really wanted to expand outside of that. And one of my passions is sustainability. So I wanted to find something that married those two things, and that's where ag tech comes in. You can marry both robotics, technical fields, and sustainability and passions for things that really improve the world and have a huge impact. So that's why I'm here. And I'm working at Agtonomy doing those things and very excited to see what comes next.
Great, thank you. Tyler?
Yeah. So I actually began my career right here in the Salinas Valley as a strawberry harvester. And in the fields, you learn the value of hard work, grit, and humility. And I knew in the very first day that this was for me. And I can't imagine doing anything else. Being a part of Bluewhite has just been astronomically impactful. And I'll forever be grateful to just be a part of this incredible industry that we're all in.
Awesome. I always grew up around ag. Just out of the Fresno area, you're just kind of like the heart of agriculture over there. And my dad was in agriculture. He's got an ag business. So every summer job, I'd be in some sort of ag field, and really liked it. I always liked being outside. Didn't really like being inside, just being in a little cubicle. I like just being outside. But it was really cool to find a job like GUSS because I've always liked technology, and I liked ag as a whole too. So just being able to combine those is a good opportunity, good fit for me.
And Berenice?
Well, as you guys know, Watsonville and Salinas, like they mentioned, heart of agriculture. So my parents actually immigrated from Mexico specifically to Watsonville because they knew that the agriculture business there was booming. My parents are both in the farming business, and my mother is a raspberry picker for Raider Farms, and my dad was also a raspberry picker, and now he does something else. But growing up with that, it's always been a part of my life. Went to college, never did any ag or any tech type of clubs or anything like that. And I worked throughout all of my college journey, and it did take 8 years. So I just want to make that very clear to everybody. There's not just like a one-way path, and take your time, figure it out. Ag tech found me, and I'm doing very well in it now. So just try really hard, and like Tyler mentioned, you have to have a really good work ethic, and that's where I'm at now.
Thanks, Lawrence.
A little bit like Ella, I didn't have the I didn't have the agricultural background growing up. I definitely knew I was really interested in robotics. So in actually elementary school, we had like a small group of kids around that were like, oh, let's buy a bunch of Lego Mindstorms and build a bunch of stuff together. That progressed into high school, where I also did FIRST robotics. So if there are any robotics clubs out there, feel free to explore your interest in those. Highly recommend FIRST. They're awesome. And then that really piqued my interest in robotics in general. So when I was applying to colleges, I knew I wanted to do something robotics focused. So I went into electrical engineering, also for machine learning. And after that, I actually started off my career in consumer electronics. So I worked with Fitbit for a year. They're awesome. I love them. And after that, I hopped around a little bit. So I went to BAE Systems. That's where I got my large machinery kind of experience. And then after that, I went to Zoom, more consumer electronics. I actually found AgTech as a field after Zoom when I was looking around, and it just was a really interesting field to me because I didn't even know AgTech was a field at the time. And I was just wowed by oh, this is such cutting edge technology being used in the agricultural fields. And I love robots. FarmWise provided me with the, I guess, robotic field, while also I feel like I'm just making a real good impact on, feeding America and stuff like that. Yeah.
Great, thanks, Lawrence. So I want to kind of go down. It seems like some of you, agriculture found you, and so that's amazing. You've all had different college experiences, some in ag, some out of ag, some in robotics, different pathways. One, can you talk about whether or not you are a first-generation college student in your family, meaning your parents didn't go to college and you're the first one? And if that's the case, how did you kind of work with your parents to make sure you got through that process? Because it's a real foreign process. If your parents didn't go to college, it's very difficult. So if you could maybe talk through that, and then just kind of once you got to college, how you got involved, or what kind of things you made happen for yourself because of opportunities that are provided for you when you go to either a 2- or 4-year college after you're done with high school.
Yeah, so my parents both have backgrounds in the arts. My mom was a dancer and did musicals and those kinds of things. And my dad was also in an art background. He did go to university and he studied how to play the French horn. And he also did a lot of set design and things. So very different background, but they both did go to school. When I was younger, as I kind of mentioned previously, I was involved in a lot of robotics teams and camps and all those kinds of things. And my parents were very involved when I was young to put me in those different opportunities so I could really branch out and explore all of these different experiences. So they were very supportive of me, trying out things, seeing where I wanted to go. And that's why I was able to find what I wanted to do. During college, there were a lot of really valuable experiences that I had that really shaped my interests. So For example, when I was at the University of Waterloo, there were a ton of different, what they called engineering student design teams. And these are kind of like the robotics teams that you can participate in high school, except bigger. So there's some that do solar-powered cars or aerial drones, or one that I started and was really involved in was a self-driving car competition, where we took a Chevy Bolt and we slapped some sensors on it, and we tried to figure out how to make it run by itself. It was very difficult, especially for a group of students, but it was really great going through all of that trial and error, all of that difficult study time to try and get this thing to work. Another thing that was really important during college is internships. If you have the opportunity to do summer internships, I would really recommend doing that. You can explore different areas. So for example, for me, I did internships in making retail devices, and then building sensors, and then eventually building self-driving cars. And all of that really helped me fine-tune exactly where I wanted to go, and that was specifically for machine learning, and then eventually going into ag tech with all of that knowledge that I built.
Great. Tyler, what about you?
Awesome. So one thing that my grandfather always said is to find the cutting edge of the industry you love, identify how you can create value, and then get to work. So I'm not a first generation. My parents went to college. But education is a big part of my family, and they're a firm believer in it. And, and I gotta say, I totally agree. Internships are key. I mean, bottom line. My first taste in ag tech was an incredible internship with Advanced Farms. I worked on their strawberry harvest automation, and working with them really illuminated this fire in me to be a part of ag tech, and I never went back. I think with college, being involved in clubs, internships, so on and so forth are really important. And so just a few milestones about my college career. I went to Hartnell, which is an amazing school, if any of you are looking. I double majored crop production ag business. I was privileged to be the president of the Ag Ambassadors. I created a student-run garden, a vermicomposting system, a small beekeeping program. And then when I transferred to Fresno State, I was the president of the Plant Science Club. And we ran a half-acre student farm. We did all in-house fundraising. We were pretty much fully supported by industry. And so learning how to talk to industry early is key. We donated much of the produce to the student pantry. So it was really students feeding students, which was a fantastic feeling. And I think one of the most important memories that I had was we actually partnered with Dolores Huerta, who's a civil rights activist who worked closely with Cesar Chavez, and a personal hero of mine, to really help feed farm workers. And during COVID, there was a lot of unharvested produce at Fresno State. And I got a bunch of students together, and we harvested hundreds of pounds. And we loaded up trucks. Dolores Huerta herself came and accepted the produce and shared wisdom. And I think one of the most incredible things was she wrote "Si se puede" on all of our hats. And a lot of the students that were with me, their grandparents marched with her. And so to be able to kind of give that back was incredible. They each presented it to their grandparents. So, but just really being involved, giving back, and really kind of looking at what will set you apart. What are you doing that will make the biggest impact? And I think that's really what it's about.
Right.
Wow.
Well, Chris, you're going to have to try to top that.
I might spin it a little bit, but my parents both went to college as well. My mom went to Chico, my dad went to Fresno State. But I'll spin it. Internships are crucial. Way better to go through internships that is in a direction where you guys want to go, if that's ag tech or if that's engineering or whatever it might be. You know, instead of working at a fast food joint where you're not getting as much experience as you could be later in life for your career. That's really crucial. But a couple of advice I have for you guys. You guys are in high school right now. It's really important you guys get as best grades as you can right now, and do really well in the SATs and ACTs. That way you can get to a really good college, or college of your choice. But once you're in college, not to say that grades aren't important, but you got to always make sure you're passing your grades. But another whole key aspect to it is just building connections. And that is super important. I mean, nowadays I run into people all the time that I met in college, and actually how I got my job right now was through a connection as well. It really helped me. So there's a couple different ways you could go about doing that. One would be clubs, kind of like you guys were mentioning. So for like ag, maybe like a crop science club, or more like the technology of ag clubs. Another way that I found to be the most lasting was I joined a fraternity in college. I joined Greek life, and for girls it'd be a sorority. But I talk to those guys all the time, and a lot of them are in the ag community, and I run into them all the time as well. But that instantly, right when you're a freshman in college, exposes you to a lot of different people, and then you might, meet their friends from high school or their friends that are outside the fraternity, and it's just an exponential growth of connections. So it's not for everybody, but it really helped me gain a lot of connections. And then office hours too. So if you guys are struggling in a class, it's really good to go talk to the teacher. I mean, you might not always need it, but the more you build a relationship with that professor, the more likely you might get a better grade, or she might help you out. He or she might help you out, just with the class in general. And then my third piece of advice is, when you're in college, the GEs, for some reason, or a four-year college, they try to make it way harder than it needs to be. So what I figured out later, like my junior year, was I signed up for a community college online, and then took a bunch of classes then, and then it was super easy classes, and you get all the information you need. But if you guys start doing that in high school, that's what I wish I would have started doing. Some guys did that, and right when they entered in college, they were only taking like 12 units, and they're just breezing through college. It was like awesome, and I was like, dang, I wish I would have did that. Or you can get a double major too. It opens up a lot of extra units that you could be taking. So I was typically taking like 14 to 20 units a quarter, but these guys were just taking 12, or they're on track with what I was doing, but they're getting an extra major on top of that. So that's some of the advice I have for you guys.
Great. Bernice, what about you?
So I actually am a first-generation college student. Both of my parents immigrated from Mexico, like I mentioned earlier, and thankfully now they both have their residency. But I was definitely the first in my family to go to college, and it is very difficult. And it's not because, let's say, the parents do not want to help. Maybe they're not financially ready. Obviously, they've never been to college. They don't understand the process and how much effort it takes and how much money it really costs. So for like myself, unfortunately, I had to work to pay for my tuition, which is why it took me 8 years to get a bachelor's. I did go to community college, so if you can go to community college, I would recommend that you start there, especially in high school. I didn't know what I wanted to be in 4 years, let alone 10 years. You don't really know. And if you do know, that's great, follow it. But go to community college, take advantage of it, because it is less expensive. And like they mentioned, you could take a lot of units there that transfer over. And internships are great, and if you have the opportunity to do them, you should. But for somebody like myself, where the parents are not financially stable to support your college education, and if you have to work, I worked throughout my whole college experience, very different jobs in retail, fast food, anything really. So in a way, if you don't do internships, your jobs that you do, you can still gain a lot of experience and knowledge from that, especially knowing that you're working to pay for your tuition. Nobody can take that away from you. And if you have the willingness and the eagerness to want to get your education and you try very hard, those skills transfer. So you can always learn. You have the rest of your lives to learn new skills. But if you have a foundation where you have a strong work ethic and you're eager to learn, that will take you further in some ways than just going to school and getting a degree. So I think it's really important to, especially in this community, the local community, a lot of us are first-generation college students. And if you have the opportunity to be educated and go to school, always remember to give back, which is why I'm very excited to be here on this panel speaking to you guys locally in my home, around my hometown, students that grew up around where I grew up, and just so you guys can see me and see that you can also do it too. Even if you don't get a financial aid, even if you don't get grants, you could still go to college and work really hard. And the best piece of advice I would say is to surround yourself with other students or other community members, people that want to see you succeed and that understand that, you know, for us, it's not just a 4-year path and easy peasy off to a career. It's a little bit different, but it's not impossible. It's very much possible. So just remember that. Yeah.
And Lawrence, go ahead.
So my experience is a little bit different and a little bit of the same with all of y'all. I'm also not a first-generation college student. However, my parents got their degrees in Taiwan, and they emigrated over here when I was not born yet. But and you know, having a degree from Taiwan, it's a bit, I would say, harder for them to find a job in America. They were on their green card for a very long time before they finally got the residency. So, you know, growing up, you watch your parents work hard, you want to work harder, right? So make life easy for them. So that's why in high school, I was like really, really driven to like, all right, find what I'm interested in. What do I want to do? And you know, I grew up as a kid watching like BattleBots, so that was what was like, oh, I want to do that. Like I want to make robots that fight each other, you know. But that eventually progressed to like general robotics interest, right? So in high school, I went into the robotics club. I actually put a lot of effort into that club, where eventually my last year in high school, I became president of the robotics club. And I think that really helped me with getting into colleges as well. I'm going to say that my grades weren't exactly the best, right? Like a lot of my classmates had like 4.0s and like amazing SAT scores and stuff like that. But I will want to say that joining the robotics club probably got me into my college of choice. So just remember that sometimes chasing your interests is also just as important as working hard for your grades. One thing that I want to mention in college is it is also very important to talk to your peers, find out who is there to support you in your interests, right? So I joined a few different clubs here and there. Not all of them were academic. I joined some cultural clubs as well. So I actually joined the Taiwanese Student Association. I joined the Kaibigan Philippine, which is the Filipino club. But I also did like IEEE, which was the Institute for Electrical Engineers. They had a lot of workshops where I learned how to like solder correctly and build a bunch of circuits and prototypes and stuff like that. So I guess in general, my biggest point of advice is do what you're interested in, work hard for it, make your parents proud, you know, and follow what you want to do. Yeah.
Great. So I think the takeaway here for college is that do all the things, join all the clubs, try all the things, take all the classes. Like when you get to college, it's not like you're there like you are at high school, where you get there at 8 in the morning and you leave at 3, or you go to volleyball or football practice at 3. You know, you have a lot more free time, which then frees up time to join clubs, find out about an internship, go to those office hours. That is a huge, huge plus. If you are visiting your teacher during their office hours in college, they remember you, they know who you are. When they're grading maybe a test where you're writing an essay, they're gonna go, oh, that's what she meant, because we just talked about that. So build those relationships. And also I will say, if college doesn't seem like something that you can afford, the community college system in California now has what they call the Promise Program, and I don't think it came out probably right after you guys got out or were finishing college. The Promise Program means that the first 2 years of community college are free. I have a son that I just sent my little infant baby boy to college, and he moved away about a month and a half ago. And he only had to buy one textbook because most of the teachers have gone to online free open source textbooks. So I really have, I mean, we paid for food and he works on the school farm, so he gets to live there for free. So like, it's very inexpensive. There's lots of different options. The colleges are there to help you. So certainly don't count out college. Community colleges are free for the first 2 years. Even if you've been taking dual enrolled or concurrent classes while you're in high school, it's when you exit high school, 2 free years, you can go free to go to, you cannot find a better priced, better education with the community colleges that they're doing that Promise program now. So I would encourage all of you, if you aren't sure about it, ask your counselors at your own high schools, and they can help you get started with that. Okay, so jumping out of your education life and into your work life, why don't you guys kind of just give us a day in the life? Like, what do you do? Maybe a week in the life if you got all kinds of things going on. So what's a day look like in the jobs that you're in now?
Yeah, so day by day work can be a little bit varied. In my role at Agtonomy, generally they'll consist of a few different things. One of them could be design or discussions with your coworkers to come up with new ideas or figure out how to solve different problems that you're encountering. There's also a lot of work put into building these ideas that you've discussed. So in my role, putting that into code. One of my favorite pieces of my role will be experimenting with different machine learning models or playing around with data or different software tools. It's always fun doing those experimental things. And then there's also a huge piece where it's the testing and validation of the stuff that you're building. So one of the first stages could be taking what you've built and testing it in our parking lot at our South San Francisco office. Once we validated it there, we'll bring it up to some of our test farms up in Sonoma and do field testing days. So you go up there for a day, you're outside, you're in the sun. Those days are a lot of fun. You're running autonomous tractors down these vineyards and seeing if it works, maybe doing some data collection, things like that. It's always a lot of fun.
Great. Tyler, what's your days look like?
Well, so, we on? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Just checking, I promise. Anyway, so I oversee all autonomous operation in the southern region, right? So Southern California. It's in operation, no day is the same, and I think that's really what I love about it, is it's exciting, there's always room for improvement, and emphasis on safety is key, right? Making sure that as we move into this next era, this data-driven farming and the autonomous era of agriculture, in a sense, we have to make sure that safety comes first, right? And I work very closely with different departments to make sure that the technology is operating at its peak performance and ensuring that the clients that we work with get everything they need, if not more, right? And yeah, I think that's really kind of the key of what I do, is it's making sure that our system runs as smooth as possible and everyone has a great time doing it.
Awesome. Yeah, for GUSS, we sell through John Deere dealers. And so a lot of my job is traveling around to different dealers and setting up new dealers as well and new markets. So about 50% of the time I'm traveling. So what I do is go to the dealers and help sell the product. So we do demonstrations out in the field, have a big grower day come out and see a cool autonomous machine run through their field, and never gets old watching all the growers super excited about the future. It's already here. Yeah. So a lot of my traveling too is out of the country. So actually next week I'm going to Australia, and then we've been going to New Zealand, Brazil, South Africa, on the other side of the country too, Florida, Georgia. So a lot of my time is spent traveling around and setting up new markets. And one that we're going to next is Spain. So super interesting. That's what I really like about my job is traveling around and seeing what the market potential is and seeing what other countries are, if they're more technology focused or are they more traditional, and just kind of breaking through that market. So yeah.
So a typical day-to-day in my life, first I started out actually building the robots, and now I am the production manager. So I manage our very small team, 3 of us, Shout out, they're in the room. And I manage them. We build the robots. We test the robots, similar to what Ellis said. There's a lot of testing. There's a lot of data collection. And also, I work with our sales team and our engineers. So I kind of am the person that brings everybody together and make sure that everybody's ideas, everybody's hopes and dreams come together, and then we execute them. And yeah, that's a typical day. It's just like everybody's saying, it's different almost every single day, but it's really, really enjoyable.
Awesome. My day is also the same. Like, every day is different. There are some days where, I'm in Selena's boots in the ground, just watching the robot, make sure it doesn't break anything. There are other days where I'm up in Santa Clara, I'm doing a bunch of data analysis, just staring at a computer like, oh, this vibration looked a little bit off, or oh, this machine's arm was like a little slightly to the left, But yeah, every day is different. What I really, really enjoy about working with FarmWise is that everyone there is just so awesome, amazing, amazing team there. I think that's what really drew me to FarmWise, actually. Shout out to the team out there. I see one person. But I love working with them. Just easy communication all around with everyone. On the day-to-day, I thoroughly enjoy working here. There's just so many aspects of what I do. Is like, as a hardware QA, I look at the robot as a whole, but we also look down to the microsystems as well. Like, today is very different, right? Like, I'm up here talking with y'all. It's super awesome. Yeah, I just think that every day is different, but every day is a challenge, and every day is really fun. If you want to talk to me more about it, though, I'm at booth 28, so just come talk to me. Yeah.
Great. So, I mean, you guys have such, you can tell that you're all very passionate about what you do. And, it's do something you love and you never work a day in your life. But I think that these students out here, it's kind of the show me the money. And although it's a little bit, I don't need to see your W-2s or anything, but, and I've already talked to them about this before, so I'm not just throwing this on them, but could you give a salary range for what each of your jobs are so that these students know what kind of opportunities are out there and why it would be worth it to get an education, why it would be worth it to go on to school after? So if you can just give a range, you don't need to tell, but, and I promise, they've all agreed to discuss this topic, so go ahead.
Yeah, before I talk about specific numbers, I just want to say, from an engineering perspective, robotics engineers are very well paid. And the income that I earn in ag tech is in line with other well-paid roles in robotics. So I came from self-driving car field. They pay very, very well. It's very similar in ag tech. I also fully encourage you guys to do your own research. You can look at Glassdoor for numbers about different roles, different careers, even specifics at different companies. So rather than a range, I'm going to give you a starting salary that's pretty typical for people coming out of college and working in machine learning in the Bay Area specifically. And it's about $130,000. The range is ginormous depending on the amount of experience you have, the location you're in, what company you're working at, if you're doing a startup versus a non-startup. So there's a huge amount of factors, and I just want to make sure that you guys really also do your own research there as well.
For sure. So I think really, I feel compared to many agricultural jobs out there, ag tech is just pretty hard to beat. I think you can be comfortable at the six-figure range. And I think it's an incredible opportunity, and it's this field is just, it's emerging and it's growing, and we're just kind of at the cusp of this incredible exponential growth. So I think it's a great time to get in.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the numbers that they said are pretty spot on. Same what I would say too. It also depends on what you want to do. I mean, it's going to be maybe just different salary ranges depending on what you want to do, like a welder, someone who maybe didn't go to college versus someone who's a software engineer in the Bay Area. Huge different variety and ranges. So yeah.
I think for being if you're not in the engineering side of ag tech, like for example, myself, production manager, you go from anywhere from starting at to 60K to it can go up to 120, even more. I think it's really important that no matter what you start at, you still work really hard because there's seems to be always incentives and always opportunities for you to get a raise. And especially because it's ag tech and it's fast paced, it's evolving. It's not like a typical, you have to wait a year to get a raise. Sometimes it's just within a month, 2 months. It really depends. So.
Yeah, I mean, I can give you guys a good solid range. Some of my position would probably be around like 120 to 180, but keep in mind that, I didn't start out there. My first job was actually, I was driving golf carts in college, and I made $17 an hour. And, just work hard, work your way up, and, by the time you're my age, you'll probably be making way more than I do. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you for being so candid. I know sometimes money and salary and things is kind of a touchy subject, so I appreciate that you guys are willing to discuss. I think we've got about 6 or 7 minutes left, and I want to leave a few for questions. So I think we'll go around the horn one more time, and maybe just what would be, if you could go back to yourself in high school, what would you tell yourself back then that you know now because of your jobs in ag tech?
I would tell myself to maybe look outside of the core of the robotics field that I was looking in. I personally wasn't really even aware of agriculture, kind of similar to Lawrence, in the technological fields until maybe a year and a half ago. And it's been the most amazing career change for me going into this field rather than some of the other technical fields that I was in. So if I was going back to high school, I would say look into some other areas you can apply technology. Look into some of the problems that you learn about in maybe your geography classes or other classes that you are looking at in high school. And just try to branch out, try to experience different things so that you can really nail down what area you want to go into the most.
Great, thanks, Ella. Tyler?
Sure. I think first and foremost, don't settle. Be bold and ambitious, and always strive to do something that makes you feel a little unprepared. It's in those moments of pushing through your comfort zone that you'll experience your breakthroughs. I mean, for sure, this talk is for me. Understand that you'll stumble and make mistakes. I promise you that it's okay. And I make mistakes all the time. The most important thing I've learned is how to pick myself up and keep going forward. You're about to navigate a really exciting chapter of your life, and you need to remember to stop and smell the roses. Take pride in every step that brought you to this point. It's no one's path is easy, and have fun, stay present, and make sure you laugh a lot. And I think just to kind of wrap it up, it's whatever field you're passionate about, aim to be on the cutting edge. Look beyond the horizon, and your dream job is out there. Or perhaps, I mean, it's totally possible you'll create it yourself. And but relentlessly go after your goals. And as I said, I was very fortunate to find a company like Bluewhite very early on in my career, and it's everything I could have asked for. And you all have the potential to change the world. And next time we meet, maybe I'll be watching you guys.
I think if I were to go back, 2 things I would really want to focus on would be Excel. So I use Excel like every day. It's like my best friend. Just more knowledge about that because right now I'm like, now I have a good understanding, but I learned a lot on the job. It would have been cool to know that beforehand. Another one would be coding. It's not like I code, I'm not a software engineer, but just to understand what's all going on behind the scenes is, I think it's really important for companies like ours. And then going back to the college deal, we were talking about college more in a professional sense, but college is a blast too. So if you're on the teetering end of it, you don't know if you want to do it or not, trust me, you guys are going to have a great time. I was just talking to somebody the other day, and they're saying if you had a button in front of you that said if you push it, you'd be 18 and going back to college. I would have a hard time to not push that button. So, yeah, definitely go to college.
I would say that 5 years ago, I would probably have said, try looking locally around because you know, when you're in high school, you're like, I'm gonna go to college, I'm gonna go away, and I just can't wait to get out of here. But oftentimes, I feel like a lot of us find ourselves coming back. And so I would say to explore the community and around the community and see what kind of opportunities are there, instead of just trying to think, where can I go? How far away can I go?
For sure. I mean, everyone made really good points. And I think in high school, I would have told myself, you know, focus on what you want to do and learn a little bit more coding. That is definitely something that I could have done in high school. Maybe not for you guys, but I would have told myself to invest in Bitcoin. Yeah. And I think in general, it's just, you know, figure out what you guys want to do and follow that. It doesn't always have to be like in the most lucrative place, but if you're passionate about it, you will make your way up there and you will make a name out for yourself.
Great. Well, thank you. I will say you guys do have Hartnell right in your backyard. It's an amazing college. In my opinion, one of the best in the state, especially in agriculture. If you don't have a robotics club or a coding club at your high school, find a teacher that's into it and see if you guys can start a club. Just ask. It doesn't hurt to ask. I think we're going to take a couple of minutes to do a little Q&A. So does anyone have questions? If so, go ahead and raise your hand.
Not all at once, guys.
Anyone? Okay.
There is no stupid question. Don't say that.
So since you all have been in the industry for a few years, looking forward, what do you think is the problem that these kids are going to have to solve within the industry moving forward?
I'd say one of them would be the safety component of machines. Just making sure they're like when new products come out and new autonomy and new just ag tech, making sure that we're always thinking about safety for the end user. That's one of them.
One thing that I often think about, and this isn't necessarily just specific to ag tech, but because we're becoming more data-driven and we have all of these machine learning processes, there's a lot that goes into like data storage or training these machine learning models, and that in itself also has a huge impact on environmental sustainability. So this isn't just ag tech, but it also has an impact here. I think that's something that maybe not a lot of people are thinking about, that piece of it. And I think that maybe the next generation of engineers or the people that are currently here can start thinking about ways to solve that piece of the problem as well.
Great. Anybody else? Oh, looks like we have one more.
Is there any internship? Is there any internship opportunities that you guys offer at all?
I will answer that. I mean, I think a lot of these places do offer internships. Also, and normally the internships, unfortunately, are for college students because of you have to be 18 and the insurance part of it. So I wish there were more opportunities for high school students to do internships. But when you're in college, or there will be people there that will help you with internships, your teachers, but also reach out to these companies and say, hey, can I come ride along with you for the day, just so you can kind of learn? And when we talked at the beginning about just it's kind of who you know, it's a great way to reach out to these ag tech or an ag company around you and say, hey, is there somebody I could like drive around with for a couple hours to see what they do? That will do a couple of things for you. One, if you hate it, you will go, okay, that's checked off the list. I don't want to do that. because you'd hate to get into a job this way. You kind of experience it and go, nope, don't want to do that. Or you may go, yes, this is exactly what I like to do, and I want to pursue this further. And then you can build that relationship so that they may have some internship opportunities or summer job, or they may hire you for an actual job, full-time job. So just keep introducing yourself to people. Don't be afraid to say hello, shake their hand. I'm going to go ahead and wrap us up. I want to thank the panel. My kids need to get it together because you guys are amazing, and I need mine to start doing more things. So we will all take mics off in the back over there. So if you have any questions or you want to speak to any of the panelists, please come by and do so. We'll be in the back corner there for a few minutes after we're done. So thank you for attending and being so engaged. We really appreciate it, and thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to our panelists and to our moderator.